Hey guys, Chris with Tillman Family Farms. We had our first official market this morning for the season. We had a spring market earlier in the season, but today open for the season, and we are getting a late start on chores. So just fed this group of calves. Some of these guys are going to process, some of them are sold, but we have been moving cows. We really severely overgrazed our pasture. We gave this pasture a lot of time to recover, and it didn't do very good, and everybody just kept telling me, Chris, you just got to start moving cows. So we did, and so this is all of our adults. Some of these are ones dropped a calf already. There's maybe one or two that should be dropping calves, but these guys back here were still with the herd, and believe it or not, at almost a year old, they were still on mama. So we were really hurting the heifers by keeping them with them. So I'm fixing to go out here and move cows for today, and I'm going to show you what we're working with, what the ground's like, how they're dropping manure to help us out with the soil and all that kind of stuff. So stick with me, and just remember, I'm new at this moving cows all the time. So my pasture hasn't gotten all that benefit from it just yet. So it's slow growing. We've had a little bit of rain, probably not enough. So let's go out here and check it out, and we'll see what we're talking about. So this is our first calf for the year. He doesn't care too much about the electric wire. And then these guys over here. All right, I'd like to start by saying all of this that you see behind us, all the way up to the road, has all been grazed over the past, I don't know, 2.5 weeks. And I'm gonna tell you, there wasn't a ton of it out here, and they have grazed it down to nothing. Some of it up there where they first were is growing back really well. The spots where they were over the winter is growing back really well. But these guys are really anxious. So I'm gonna show you this setup real quick, and then we're gonna get them moved into this other paddock that's probably close to an acre. All right, so I've got some recovering mamas in here. And then well, I'm gonna tell you what, she looks like she dropped overnight. That's one of the ones we're thinking is gonna be having calf really soon. And then we've got another ball face in there that should be having calf pretty soon. Anyway, so you see the single strand across here, and then there's another single strand out there that goes all the way across this pasture. So we're basically breaking this pasture into two sections when we do this. So all of this over here, only thing I'm worried about, man, we had a ton of clover come up this year. Too much clover can hurt these guys, but anyhow, I'm fixing to drop this and let them through, and then we'll go back and look at how they're helping us out with their manure. Woo, everybody happily moved over, and they put their heads down and go right to work. So yeah, maybe it was the way she was standing. So we got that red Angus right there that was born without a tail, and I'm pretty sure that was the way she was standing. Maybe she's not quite as ready as I thought. But anyhow, they have, you can see way down there between those couple of big pines is where they have to go. Not a ton in here. This pasture has slowly recovered, and we're hoping that this process is going to help it recover even faster. So it should be about this pasture back through here, and then there's about another 5-acre pasture on the back there. Should be about another 29 to 30 days worth, and then we'll work our way back around to where they first were and work down all the way back to the front. So that's where we're at right this minute. Let me put this back up, and I'll walk you out through here and show you what I mean by getting the cows to help us recover the soil. All right, real quick before we move on, I showed you the single strands. That is a Gallagher S40 that is powering all of this. This behind us is, if you've been watching the channel for a while, we built this last summer because we ran pigs out through this pasture. There's no shade for them, so we built it with a frame over top of it and some tarps. Then we have an IBC tank on it with a valve, and then it is feeding a float valve in this tank. So this setup lasts about 2 days worth of water for this group. I want to say this is 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah, 11. So it's 10 heifers and 1 bull, and then there's a calf with his mom out there. So this is the group we're running. You saw me earlier down there. I was haying some calves that we've held back. So right now we've got about 22. A lot of those calves will be leaving this week or very soon anyway. Anyway, the paddock that I'm in is where they've been for a day and a half-ish. So I'm gonna walk you around and I'm gonna show you how these cows are helping us using their manure. If you watch a lot of Greg Judy or Joel Salatin or anybody like that, you've probably seen this and know exactly what I'm talking about. And no, my pastures don't look like theirs because I've just started this. We're just gonna start seeing the benefit of this probably by the end of the year, I would hope. So let's walk around, take a look, and I'm gonna take you up to another spot and show you what happens when you have manure piles like this and you just leave them alone. All right, so what you're looking at is about the size of a football field, maybe just a little smaller. So I'm trying to do acre paddocks. So this is pretty close to what a football field size would be, and that's roughly what an acre is. So if you see, their manure is really close together in a lot of cases. So I mean, it's just all over. So when you do this, you're concentrating your manure. So I mean, you see the pats out there all over the place. You see how close together they are. And what that's doing is it's all of the nutrient that the soil can use and the plants can use is all in this manure, right? So within that, you're helping the soil regenerate and you're giving the grass and other things that are in the grass what it needs to recover quicker and to promote, you know, microorganisms and bioorganisms and all these other things in the soil, but you're promoting them to have a healthier soil. If I was to stick a shovel in this ground right now, it would be terrible. But if we continue to do this for the next few years, this should be a nice, lush, soft layer of topsoil with all sorts of beautiful grasses and things growing in it. If you see, I've had a lot of this right here is buttercup. And buttercup happens when the ground is deoxygenated, when it's too compact, it is too acidic, things like that. And we've got a lot of places in this pasture like this. So we've been just turning these cows out in this pasture and just letting them have at it, and no more. We did a long-term deal over the winter, and we did some videos on that. We're gonna walk up here and I'm gonna show you where they were over the winter. So this line we're looking at right here, that's where they were over the winter. And you're gonna see really quickly, like that green spot right there straight ahead, it's where we did some hay rollouts and we had some rings for a little while. But a lot of this, all down through here, was all mud because the cows ran it so much and we had so much rain over the winter. But a lot of that stuff we reseeded it recently. You can see some growth coming back in that. But so they had all the grass you see back there, and then they had, this is probably about 7 acres of woods. We've been running pigs through here for several months. These guys got about 2 more months before they go to the processor. But they're running in there. And then they went all the way that way up to the road. And of course, all these areas like this that you see that are dirt looking, we reseeded about 2 weeks ago, so you can see some growth in there. But that's where they came from. So we're hoping that before they get to the way back, we're gonna be able to move this line and reconfigure this whole side for paddocks over here. Hopefully over the next 30 days, this grass right here will develop a nice strong root structure, and the other stuff that is growing back, and then all the piles of places where there was you know, hay bales, and we did a couple rollouts in a couple places. Hopefully those areas will be looking good. We're gonna start thinning this section of woods to try to make silvo pasture out of it here very soon. We're just gonna start at the front up by the pond and go through and mark out some trees and just start thinning it, all the younger trees, all smaller trees, and see if we can't open it up, get some sun in there. But we are fixing to go up and look at what I was talking about, what these manure pats are doing for the soil up there. All right, so where are we at? We're up by the road. You can still see this line here. They were in all of this area, the whole length to way back to the back. So where I'm standing is in the first paddock that we released to them. And I want you to look at what you see. You see all the dark green spots in the grass? That's where manure was. That was manure droppings from when they came out here. So that darker green is more nutrient rich areas. And if you look, it's polka dotted because that's where they dropped their manure when they were in here. At places like that, so you can still see remnants of the manure pile. But all out across here, and what's bad, so this ground is really dry, it's a little hard. The rain, we had a ton of rain over the winter, it was great. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of stopped when we really needed it. But you see all these different spots? That's where manure was concentrated. So the idea is to keep allowing that to happen. Control where they drop the manure so that over time, these spots get closer together. They get closer together. We'll have chickens running out in this pasture here for too long. We ran some out here last year. See, look at that spot, man. I mean, it almost looks like I brought spray paint out here, doesn't it? But that's what we need. We need that all over. I mean, you got spots over there, but it's like that all over this pasture. I mean, this is a really good example. But those are the things that's going to help this regenerate a whole lot faster. I'm putting the faith in this and just letting the process take place. And if I have to move them faster, I have to move them faster. But I'm just worried that by the time I get to the back of this pasture and come back to the front, see, look at that. That tells me that it's working. It's going to be slow, but that tells me that it's working. My only problem is that I just don't feel like right now, with the lack of rain, it's growing back fast enough. So, but that is what we're doing. This particular pasture with those woods over there is probably about 25 acres-ish throughout this whole thing. That's why we want to thin all these trees. So there's a pond here, and if you go all the way through these trees, we had somebody cruise it for timber at one time because we were just going to wipe out the whole thing and just have pasture, and they said it really wasn't worth it. They said it's only about 7 acres. So we are hopeful that we can thin that out, get some silvo pasture going on, get some more grays, and just see what happens with it. But we're definitely going to be following the ways of day to 2 day grazing. That paddock I just pushed them in is probably a 2-day paddock. So today's Saturday, so I'll come in on Monday afternoon and set up a new line and move them over. And that is a longer section through there, so we may get 3 sections out of that. But look at this. I mean, see, this tells me it's working. I mean, just look how it's polka dotted out through there. Dark green spots. So that's what we're trying to do here. So I will say this, day by day, the further we go back into this pasture, the more rest all of that back there has had. So it has gotten thicker and thicker as we go. I'm just worrying about, you know, the how fast or slow it recuperates and all that kind of stuff. So look, like you see all these patties? So these hadn't had any rain. So we need to get some rain on this stuff, man. We've got chances of rain for the next, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 days. But that's really what we're needing right now. we're gonna let these guys graze this up. We're probably gonna use this as a little bit of a series, I guess. We'll check back on it every couple of weeks to see how the grass is growing back. I don't anticipate by the time we get back to it that it's gonna be better than it was the first time. I don't think it's gonna be better until they've been across it 3 times and we've had adequate rain. Then we're probably gonna start seeing some definite change in the grass itself. Up there where we just were, I'm not gonna run chickens across that. I'm actually gonna bring chickens in through a gate over there by that barn, and then they're gonna run and catch up behind this group of cows right here. So they'll kind of follow them, I don't know, behind them, maybe 1 or 2 paddocks, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So guys, that was just a little quick video to talk to you about grazing, what we're trying to do. I have a lot of people that ask us for cow videos, and even though we've had cows for quite a while, we're still not great with cows. We're still learning. We made a lot of mistakes, and hopefully we are going to get to a point where we can surpass that and do much better with cows and beef and things like that. So, but anyway, for now, if you guys want to keep up with this regenerating pasture, we'll do some videos on that coming up as it gets better and better, and as we move them through, show you the different results and things like that. But for now, we're out of here. We appreciate you guys watching. If you hadn't done so, please go down, like, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next video.